He's getting older.
You gotta be vaping me!
Oh, hit the follow button!
But not wiser.
Kiss my ass, you don't like it. It's my house.
This is The Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to The Lefty Show. I am your host, Lefty. Glad to be here with all of you today, Tuesday, which is the 16th of September in the year of our Spaghetti Monster 2014. Welcome one, welcome all to The Lefty Show, episode number 90. 90, baby. 90 episodes of The Lefty Show. We're 90 deep. Thank you to everybody that's been sticking with the ship on this on its maiden voyage. 90 damn episodes deep into The Lefty Show. That's impressive. 10 more until we get to 100. Woo! Yeah. 100 episodes. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, favoriting, subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can find the show in its YouTube formation. Thank you to everybody that has been sharing the show, helping it grow by sharing it with friends, family, and coworkers. You can find the show wherever you get your podcast for your PC, mobile device, or tablet, Android or iOS. It does not matter. Wherever you get your podcasts, search The Lefty Show. And you'll be sure to find us there. Subscribe and download all the episodes at your leisure. Thank you to everybody that's been following me on Twitter at Lefty643, as well as donating. I'm raising.com/643 productions. So 90 episodes, huh? Huh. That's, I gotta say, that's impressive. That and of course I don't mean to break my own arm patting myself on the back here, but I'm nothing if not a conceited bitch. So just allow me a moment, if you will. 90 episodes, 90 about an hour, yeah, give or take an hour. You know, there's a fudge factor there. But I believe like 95% of the episodes have been longer than an hour. So that's 90 1 hour plus episodes. So more than 90 hours, 90 man hours, probably more than 100 man hours, considering just the little leftovers of the hour long run. Over 100 man hours of content put out there for people in a relatively short amount of time. And I thank you all for watching, and I enjoy doing this show, despite the obvious hit in viewership I took after a departure from PKA, and I know it's there. I'm not an idiot. Well, I mean, that's not true. that's not strictly speaking true. I am an idiot, but I know it's there. I knew it was going to happen. And, I in the month, it's been about a month, right? I think. Yeah, it's been about a month, probably a bit longer than a month. I knew it was going to happen. And some people use my betting on yourself tag to say, oh, well, you bet on yourself and you're not PewDiePie, so you lost. So, well, no, I'm doing again what is regarded as a format change in the radio business. I'm changing formats. I'm doing more of a Let's Play style kind of stuff along with podcasting. And what's more, changing the kind of games that I used to play or that I am playing. Before, it was a lot of Call of Duty, popular first-person shooters, and the like. But now you'll see such things as Madden 15. The Sims 4, perhaps NHL 15, certainly NBA 2K15 when it comes out. I'm reverting more to what I feel comfortable doing, or excuse me, to put it to describe it better. I'm doing more what I feel absolutely comfortable doing. Riffing on sports is something I've done since high school. It's something I've done since high school. And I feel immensely comfortable doing that. Playing Madden, playing hockey, although I'm not as much of a hockey aficionado as many other people may be. But basketball, baseball, football, again, you follow me on Twitter, At Lefty643, I've been talking about a lot of stuff like that. It's something I'm a lot more comfortable with, as opposed to, say, bringing you the latest tips and tricks from Call of Duty, breaking down the latest DLC map, which I've done. I've done all those things. And I could probably devote myself to it and rebuild an audience that way, but it would be something that I'm doing simply because I know it works. It'd be something I'm doing simply because I think, oh, well, I know people will turn out for this. Or, again, more descriptively, I know I give myself a better shot at people turning out because just putting up the content is no guarantee. But I feel a lot more comfortable instead of doing a commentary or a live gameplay stuff. I feel a lot more comfortable riffing on Madden 15, as stupid as it sounds. And I know not as many people want to watch it. And I know people will leave, and I know people have been leaving. Again, I'm not dumb. That dumb. Well, I'm not blind. There. I do, but even then I have corrective vision. Damn it, bitch. I know what's happening, but I knew that going in. And I'm not mad about it. I'm not, well, yeah, I knew it was going to happen. And some people will certainly use this as a chance to try to slight me. Well, okay, well, that reveals their true motives, not mine. I knew it was going to happen, but the fact that you think I didn't know and you're trying to use that to make fun of me or take shots at me, okay, well, that says more about you than it does about me. Because I could go back to doing the same old crap, play DayZ on end, tag whore, do all those things. I could be a response girl, a reply girl, and I don't, because I don't have boobs, girl boobs. Damn it! Okay. Apparently, I saw on Twitter yesterday, Girl Gone Gamer. And I really don't want to get into the old ways because when I was in a dark period, it's like Picasso's blue period. But when I had a dark period on YouTube, I got a lot into F this guy, F that guy, MFer, F them all up and down, etc. But apparently Girl Gone Gamer was run out of the gaming scene. Again, I'm coming to this. This is not somebody that follows it. This is coming from somebody who's not been following drama for a long time. And certainly hasn't been following this Girl Gone Gamer stuff. Apparently, people really didn't like her. I don't know why. There was that one video I know where she did and it was. I can appreciate somebody trying to con me. I can appreciate that because you're working your con. I know you're not a social engineer. You're a con man. Just call yourself a con man. You're working a con. I'm a social engineer. No, you're a con man. You're working the long con, short con, whatever. Just call yourself what you are. Don't try to give yourself this prestige of, ooh, I'm a social engineer. No, you're a con man. That's okay. You could probably be a very good con man. And there certainly are very good con men, especially on the internet. Don't try to give yourself any prestige that's not warranted. Did you go to school for it? Are you professionally licensed as a social engineer? No? Then you're not an engineer. But anyway, I digress. Apparently, I can appreciate when somebody's trying to con me. That's the point I'm trying to make. But when the con is so obvious and so blatant, it becomes disrespectful. It's like, at least try. At least try. Just try to make it look like you're not trying to fleece me for something that you shouldn't have and that I should hold on to. Don't try to, come on. At least obfuscate it in some ways. Give me something. I don't care. Those guys that say, oh, I'm a Persian prince and I need $500 to get my millions out of escrow, and I'll give you 10% of what I get out just so I can get da-da-da-da-da-da. At least that's something. It's crap, but at least it's kind of thought out. I remember the only thing I know of Girl Gone Gamer before she before apparently there was some big to-do. Again, I'm an idiot. She did like a vacation vlog. She was on vacation with her family, and she was doing a vlog in her hotel room. And before the vlog started, there was like a 10-second intro in which it appeared that she was trying to record the intro to the vlog, and the phone rang. And coincidentally, it just so happened that she was in a bikini. And she turned around and walked slowly, sauntered over to the phone to answer it, turning her back and other parts of her body to the camera, which, again, clad in a bikini. And then smash cut to she's back in front of the camera and the video starts. And when I saw that, it's just, I know what you're trying to do, right? I mean, I know what I know what that's supposed to be. You're trying to get me to watch more of the video by showing me your ass. And by the way, it should be illegal to do that because I don't believe she was of legal age at the time. You can't be on YouTube walking around in the scantily clad crap when you're not of legal age. Come on, what's this? Come on, get the hell out of here. That's not right. So apparently, stemming from that and things all over the place, this person, was I think run out of the gaming scene. And I saw yesterday via Twitter that she was DMing early viewers of her. She's now reincarnated as a vlogger and apparently doing very well, despite people antagonizing her constantly. Reincarnated as a vlogger, saying, "I will DM the early viewers to my video with a special selfie." And that was her hook to watch a video. And I haven't watched vlog 1 from her. I don't know what she is, what she has to say. I don't know if she has a salient thought now and again. I don't know. And I'm not here to say that, she's an idiot and a bastard or a bitch. I'm not here to say that. I don't know. I got nothing for you. I don't watch. It's just not my thing. Okay. But apparently she's got a market of some kind. Apparently there are many people who are willing to watch her videos and listen to what she has to say, even as this vlogger and before, even with the gaming stuff. But when I understand that everybody has to have their hustle. I understand that everybody has their hustle. I've got to entice you, and it's a cruel world out there, especially in this, which is the entertainment business. It is, especially in the entertainment business. It's a cruel world, and you've got to have your hook. What's your hook gonna be? And if you realize your market, you say, well, these are probably prepubescent and pubescent teenagers, mostly on YouTube watching my stuff. And even then, just mostly guys who are scrolling through and they see a nice thumbnail with some boobies on it or butt talks. They're going to click, and you understand that, and you give it to them. Okay, I guess you got something there. Like, I suppose a tip of the hat for understanding to whom you're marketing, but something about, hey, if you like, because this is how she would have done it, I'm guessing, if you have your YouTube link to your Twitter, when you like a video, it tweets it out, and if the person whose video you liked also has their YouTube link to Twitter, they will get mentioned in the tweet. And apparently, she would go through. This is how I would do it, at least if I had selfies to give. Is she would go through and DM the people that just like the video, first 10 or 15 or 20, whatever the number is. And it's just, seems pretty desperate to me. And also I have to wonder, how old is she? I want to know how old she is. Not because of anything she's done wrong or anything that she's doing badly, but just I want to know because in our society, child porn ain't nothing to screw with. You don't mess with that kind of stuff. You don't mess with it at all. You don't, no, because they will get you. If you are trafficking that stuff, if you are dealing in that stuff, especially out in the open in social media like Twitter and Facebook, they will come and get you. I mean, it's to the point where police will want to give your penis, an injection to give you, make you tumescent in order to photograph it and go, well, does this tumescent child penis look like this other picture of this tumescent child penis? I'm not sure. Johnson, you're our best photo guy. Go, you look at these child penises and make sure that they match up because we've got child porn to eradicate. They're going to come get you. They don't mess around. And while child pornography is certainly a dastardly, evil, just a very gruesome, bad thing, the things that are done to those children is awful. I have to wonder, why do people, if you even look at a picture if you're a guy and you look at a picture that you may even think contains something that could even be remotely viewed as kiddie porn, you close out your browser and you take a shower and you pull out your internet and you get a new internet provider. You're like, I didn't do it. I didn't know. I had no idea. Oh my God. But I want to know why it is that this previously not of age, again, I'm not sure how old she is now, why it's okay for her to appear on camera scantily clad and send selfies, again, presumably scantily clad and certainly sexualized. Not of a sexual nature, but just, that look. I want to know why guys feel that onus. Why is it fair that guys have to worry constantly about whether what they're giving themselves a hand to is legal or not? Why do they have to worry about that constantly? Because guys, don't lie. Don't lie to me. You have. You've been clicking around on the internet, even sites that you trust, those kind of sites, and you know exactly what I mean when I say those kinds of sites. You know that feeling where you see something and you go, what is that? What? Is she or isn't she? I'm not exactly sure. Or it could be after the fact. Was she or wasn't she? Oh my God, what may I have done? Oh crap. And then you go through and you cover your ass because then you go back to the website. And it's funny how that stuff, when you're not in the mood, that stuff just doesn't matter to you. You're like, oh, God, get out of here, breasts. What are you doing? I have no time for you, breasts. Nothing. Come back later. And you're looking to see if the website has that little proclamation that it complies with all these pornography laws to make sure that all models appearing on the site are 18, just so you have the defense of, well, they said, I got no. You're preparing your defense for child pornography charges just on the inkling that, you know what, maybe that girl wasn't as old as she said she was. But Girl Gone Gamer, previously Girl Gone Gamer, now RayaVlogs, can flash her butt and cleavage all over YouTube and then send certainly not promiscuous necessarily, but certainly sexualized selfies to viewers of her videos as an enticement to watch those videos. And nobody's going to say boo. Nobody's even going to go, I don't know if that's a good idea. And again, this is to say nothing. This is not to denigrate RayaVlogs, I believe she goes by now. I mean, was successful on YouTube and gaming and apparently is successful now vlogging. And like I said before, everybody's got to have their hustle. And I can respect that. And your hustle is, I'm going to talk about things and I'm going to put on makeup and I'm gonna wear I'm gonna wear a low cut shirt, and I feel that I have nice breastises or something, and I'm gonna show that to you, and I'm going to polish up my physical product to entice you to view, because I don't think, or just in case, what I have to say or how I sound does not meet up with what you want. Because I don't know, does she have salient things to say about Syria? Does she have salient things to say about ISIS or ISIL or IS and what they're doing, the Iraqi-Palestinian conflict, the national debt, the police militarization, Ferguson, Missouri? Does she have say? I don't know. And she has undoubtedly had an internal review and say, maybe not. So, well, here's this. And then people will watch. And I guess it's kind of a defense of not only her, but other people like that. It's because a lot of people say, well, you're just gaming the system and you're not real. You're just a caricature and you offer nothing to the zeitgeist. You are nothing. People watch. At some point, you have to turn the finger away from, certainly, please do, because we're not sure how old she is. Turn the finger away from RayaVlogs and turn it back at yourself. And then swing it around at everybody else and say, you are the ones that create this. If everybody wants to pile on RayaVlogs, formerly Girl Gone Gamer, as well as all other reply girls shoving my boobies and cleavage up at the camera and, here's flashing my butt in a bikini or something. Everybody wants to give people like that crap. Jenna Marbles is the biggest one. But even then, she's funny, got good editing and very nice production quality. You want to be mad at people like that and say you're nothing. You don't offer anything. You don't provide anything. Your level of success is not commensurate with your content in terms of what you have to say and its value to humanity, to society, to this community, to this, to the other thing. And you want to do that, and I say, okay, but you probably shouldn't be mad at them. All the way from Girl Gone Gamer to Jenna Marbles, they all have achieved success. What's the common denominator? Because they've all got different color, different eyes, different boobs, different bodies, different clothes, different cameras for the most part, different levels of production quality, different sets. None of those things are the common denominator. What's the common denominator? You. And by you, I mean men, teenage kids, boys. Who should you really be mad at? Girl Gone Gamer or RayaVlog, whatever. This girl who's providing a supposed need for the market, or the market. Be mad at the people that create the market for it. What are you doing? Stop it. And then if those people stand up and say in unison and say, well, we don't care about actual meritorious discourse. We don't care about that. We care about promiscuity. We care about, hey, is that a bit of an areola I see? Is that what I think it is? Or, ooh, I can see her bra through her shirt. Ha! We care. That's what we care about. Well, then you've got nothing to say. You don't like the content. And if that's the case, don't watch. I mentioned Ferguson. I learned yesterday that the grand jury, this is an update on Ferguson, Missouri, and police shooter Russell Wilson killed Mike Brown, broad daylight. The grand jury convened in Ferguson to decide whether to formally charge Officer Russell Wilson has been given until January, this coming January, I believe it is, to decide whether to bring charges. And that has come after the grand jury usually meets for 4 weeks or 2 months. They meet for 2 months, and that expired last week. But they usually meet. Here's the thing. It's not like they're meeting every day. It's not like this becomes their job. They usually meet weekly. So once a week for 2 months is 8 meetings. And when you're a grand jury, usually, as I understand it, you're not hearing just one thing. You're not hearing evidence on one thing. You're presented with multiple cases, people trying to get charged or deciding to proceed with charging something and blah, 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 and all those things that I don't understand. So you're hearing multiple things, trying to decide multiple things across only what is a handful of meetings. It seems like a long time, but it's only a handful of meetings. And people are outraged at the fact that the grand jury has not brought an indictment of Officer Russell Wilson as of yet. And I was struck by the fact after reading an update article on the grand jury and how it's been extended until actually next year. It has that time. They don't have to use it. That's not to say that a decision has been delayed until January of next year, but that if they need it, the grand jury does all the time in the world, figuratively, to decide whether to charge Officer Russell Wilson, or is it? It's not Russell Wilson, is it? Because that's the quarterback of of the Seattle Seahawks. That'd be funny, Officer Darren Wilson. Darren. There we go, Darren. It'd be funny if Russell Wilson was charged, though. If he was the shooter. It's like, it's me. It's like, no, you're supposed to be the face of the NFL for the next 10 years. Damn it. Russell Wilson. Why? Why Russell Wilson? Darren Wilson. My apologies. Delete those comments, people that are all butthurt. Officer Darren Wilson, they don't have to use all that time. They can come with charges, the next time they meet. And apparently now they're only hearing evidence in the Mike Brown case. That they're done with everything else. Now they're hearing nothing but Mike Brown evidence. Okay. I read that activists have been pleading with the prosecutor in Missouri and even the grand jury to charge Wilson with anything. Just charge Darren Wilson with anything. Charge him with anything and put him on trial. And it seems to me that justice for Mike Brown has kind of gone out the window. Or, excuse me, justice in general has gone out the window in this sense. In the beginning, I was all for justice. Investigate, because I believe that a crime was committed by Darren Wilson. I believe there was. Investigate, charge Darren Wilson, and have a trial, a public trial, and see what's what. Let's see. But if a grand jury is convened, hears evidence, and then decides not to charge Darren Wilson with a crime because we didn't see any evidence that he committed the crime, because we don't know all that they're hearing. Again, but just from what I've heard, it seems as though a crime was committed. But if they hear and they've got an explanation for everything, then that is justice. That's justice. What you do when you say, just charge Wilson with anything, put him before a judge. When you do that, this isn't about justice. This is about making you feel good. This is about your outrage being satisfied. This is about you thinking, this guy must have done something wrong, so let's just arrest him for anything, charge him with anything, and put him on trial for his life. And if that's what you honestly want, and if there is no alternative for you, if there are only two outcomes that are acceptable. One, as the outcome of the grand jury is they decide to charge Darren Wilson with murder. And two, Darren Wilson is convicted of murder. If those are the only two outcomes you will accept before you start rioting, why even have a justice system? And that's what activists have been claiming. There's going to be riots and we're going to protest if you don't charge them and if you don't convict them. Why have a justice system then? Why even have a justice system? Why even have a system of justice? Let's just hand it over to Twitter. Here you go, liberal America. outrage society. Here you go. This guy was arrested. Do we charge this guy? Yeah. All right. Now, well, okay. Bam, bam, charged. Well, that was quick and easy. Let's move on to the trial. Guilty, not guilty. What say ye, Twitterverse? What say ye, Reddit? What do you say? Yeah, he's guilty. Oh, well, bam, bam, guilty. That was easy. Well, sorry, Darren. You gotta go. That's what this is turning into. This is turning to a drumhead trial. I'm reminded of the Star Trek, The Next Generation, of course, scene where Picard was, he was explaining to Worf what a drumhead. This is not unlike a drumhead trial. I don't do a good Picard. But a drumhead trial, as explained by Picard, was 500 years ago. Military officers would upend a drum on the battlefield. They sit at it and dispense summary justice. Decisions were quick, punishment severe, appeals denied. Those who came to a drumhead were doomed. If you are on the wrong side of outrage society, especially when they believe that you've committed a crime, you're done. Because they have said, and they are not shy about saying, just charge him with anything, put him on trial, and you better convict him because, I believe a crime was committed that day by Officer Darren Wilson, but I could be wrong. You know why? Because I wasn't there. And eyewitness testimony isn't very reliable. I question why. But on the other side, given hard evidence, I want to know why, if indeed the Wilson defenders are right in saying, well, he was charging the officer. He wasn't big, soft Mike Brown with his hands up. He was charging the officer, and the officer was rightfully defending himself. And they were so close, and the officer had to defend himself and discharge his firearm 10 times, hit him 6 to put him down. I want to know, okay, they were really close, right? Yeah. One guy even said Mike Brown was standing over the officer, not with his hands up. I say, okay, well, if they are that close, then why wasn't there gunpowder residue in the autopsy? Now you say that, right? And they say, well, they didn't examine his clothes, so there wouldn't be powder burns on his skin. And I say, well, hold on though. The independent autopsy, the second autopsy performed by a doctor of the family's choosing, found that there was no gunpowder residue on Mike Brown's hair. His hair from the supposed kill shot that entered in at a 90-degree angle from the top of his skull. Hair holds on to everything. It holds on to everything. If you've ever been with a smoker, you know why they smell even after they change clothes? It's their hair. Holds on to everything. Now they didn't have access to the clothes to show powder burns. Okay, or powder residue, gunpowder residue. There was no gunpowder residue on Mike Brown's hair. And if that was the last shot fired, if that was the kill shot, supposedly one of the last shots fired, that would tend to be when Mike Brown was closest to Officer Darren Wilson, right? Well, then why wasn't there gunpowder on his head? If he was so close that Wilson had no choice but to draw his firearm and discharge it 10 times to defend himself, why was there no powder on his head? But again, I may be wrong. I'm just a guy who wasn't there. I believe I'm breaking it. I believe I'm trying to be reasonable and logical, but I don't know. The 12 people convened in Missouri to hear the evidence on the Mike Brown case know a lot more than I do about what happened. And if they decide to not press charges against Officer Darren Wilson, then that's just going to have to be the way it is. Now, unless you can show that the grand jury decision was farcical and that they're all cracker-ass racists, which is possible, but not very plausible. So I'm sorry, activists. I was with you before. Yeah, we should be outraged at this, and then certainly outraged at the militarized police response, and that hasn't changed. But when you start saying, just put Wilson on trial for anything and you better convict him, otherwise we're going to riot again, well, I got nothing for you. Because then you just want to completely circumvent the justice system. The justice system is fine until you want something specific done, and then screw it. Screw it. I ain't got no time for that due process anything. I got no time for that crap. We were lucky. George Zimmerman's trial wasn't a farce. We were lucky. The decision to press charges, reasonable. But we were lucky that trial didn't turn into a farce. We were lucky that cooler heads prevailed and they looked at all the evidence and said, you know what? It's reasonable to believe that George Zimmerman was put in fear of his life, even though he put himself in that situation, and George Zimmerman's a bastard for that. The tides changed, and he was put in fear of his life, reasonable fear of his life, and given Florida law, he was protected in defending himself with deadly force. We were lucky that was what happened. Because there were people that no matter what, George Zimmerman was guilty of murder. And no matter what, in many people's eyes, Darren Wilson is guilty of murder. It's gotten to the point, there was a 90-year-old SS guard extradited from the United States back to Germany to face murder charges for, guess what? The Holocaust. A 90-year-old German SS guard who turned out to just be, whatever, accounts receivable, something innocuous. Germany is putting him on trial as an accessory to 300,000 plus murders of people at the concentration camp where he worked. Speaking of completely no idea of justice and exigent circumstance. What? It was 70 years ago. 70 years ago, this guy was accounts receivable at Auschwitz. And I guess that makes him an accomplice to all the murders committed there. How that's even true, I don't even know. Again, I'm applying American law to Germany, and that's not very smart. But let's just look at it from our perspective, or my perspective, the American perspective. 70 years. 70 years. And you were just a guy. Even if you were a guard on the tower, even if you were putting the chemicals in the chamber and turning the valve. It was 70 years ago, and two, you had to do it, otherwise you got a bullet to the brain. What people are honestly saying, what people would honestly tell you in the George Zimmerman case, in the Officer Darren Wilson case, and in the case of SS guards being put on trial, and German officials being put on trial after the war, after World War II, the farce that were the Nuremberg trials, people will honestly tell you that you should have accepted death so that others may have lived. Or so that at least one other person maybe may have lived. Because also, in the case of the Nazi guards, in the case of the German officer who wouldn't turn the valve, or who wouldn't order people to turn the valve, he says no, then what happens? He dies. Are those people magically saved? Do they not die ever? Is that no, they just find somebody else to do it. It's not like, oh, well, this guy wouldn't do it, you're all free to go. That's not what happened. It's revisionist history. That guy faced a bullet to the brain, and if he did accept the bullet to the brain, somebody else would have just done it. Those people were going to die anyway, and it's awful and it's tragic, but you can't tell somebody you should accept an end to your consciousness to maybe protect somebody else. And it's not the, hey, that would have been a cool thing to do. It's you have to, otherwise you have committed some crime. People would honestly tell you, no matter what, that Darren Wilson was supposed to accept death in order so that Mike Brown may live. George Zimmerman was supposed to accept death so that Trayvon Martin may have lived. And this German guy, this 90-year-old SS guard, should have accepted death so that maybe somebody else may live. Huh? And I guess that makes me a bastard. I'm nothing if not a bastard, of course. But I guess that makes me a bastard because I look at that and go, wait a minute. Wait just a damn minute. I mean, I'm all for punishing people for crimes, but there were certainly some other things going on there. Just because you're outraged at the result doesn't mean you get to just blithely going around accusing, charging, arresting, and prosecuting people for crimes. Darren Wilson, and people need to accept this. It's possible that SS guard didn't commit a crime. It's certain that George Zimmerman did not commit a crime, at least the crime of murder or negligent homicide or culpable homicide in the case of Oscar Pistorius in South Africa. And it's possible that Officer Darren Wilson didn't commit a crime. It's possible. It's certainly possible. And you need to steel your mind for that eventuality. You need to start accepting that, yes, there are circumstances under which these supposedly otherwise horrible things are not crimes. It's a tragedy that Trayvon Martin is dead. It's a travesty or tragedy that Mike Brown is dead. And it's a horrendous tragedy, the entirety of the Holocaust. But that doesn't mean that everybody that was involved with it on every level is a criminal. Darren Wilson may not be a criminal. George Zimmerman is not a criminal. And I don't think that 90-year-old SS guard is either. All right, let's do some news. All right, we got a lot to talk about in the news today. Let's get right into it. Where's my news on the Pope? Where are you, Pope? Scoozy. This is from CBS New York. The Pope. Ooh, Scoozy. Pope Francis turns heads after marrying 20 couples despite cohabitation. A group wedding at the Vatican is making headlines around the world. Many of the 20 couples married on Sunday had been cohabitating, living in sin under church law, CBS 2's Tony Aiello reported. But Pope Francis set a forgiving tone as the couples tied the knot under the dome of St. Peter's Basilica. Guido Tesaro and Gabriella Improta lived together for years before their marriage. Cesaro's first marriage was annulled, and Improta had a daughter out of wedlock. Most of the other couples had also cohabitated, as modern couples tend to, despite church teachings that sex outside of marriage is sinful, Aiello reported. It seems the Pope is giving his blessing to how countless parish priests deal with modern matrimony. People come in and they want the sacrament. We want to give it to them, said Cardinal Timothy Dolan. They kind of fess up and say, we got to be blunt, Father. We're already kind of living together. Dolan said preparing for a Catholic wedding provides couples a chance to confess, repent, and reconnect with their faith. This is really an invitation to get your spiritual and moral life in order, so it becomes a beautiful, not just a sacrament. It becomes an occasion of moral renewal. He said, the Pope's participation was deeply meaningful for the newlyweds and won praise from young Catholics in New York, Aiello reported. I think what he's kind of known for is trying to break down some of the conventions that have been rigidly upheld. Now this is a mark supposedly in favor of the Super Pope. We got the Super Pope. He's got the S on his chest. Look at him marrying cohabitating couples. All wait, you mean homosexual couples too? No. Let's not get crazy here. No, it's just people that were living together. That's your Super Pope. Super Pope. He marries people that are living together. Marrying people. This is what you do. This is what gets you Super Pope status. Well, you guys are living in sin, but that's okay. Well, but what about me, Father? I'm a homosexual. Well, hold on now, queer. Wait a second. Just whoa. Let's not get crazy here. You're living in sin. You're doubling down on sin with your gayness and living with your gay partner. That's double sin. I don't forgive double sin. Call me. You know what? It seemed like this Pope had some steam going into his papacy. It seemed like, oh man, there's a new sheriff in town, and we're going to see a new Catholic church. Gone are the days of the old guard, the visions of old dusty men. Well, they're all still old and dusty and farting. But gone is that image of the rigid Catholic Church refusing to drudge itself into the modern era. Pope Francis is going to bring the church into the modern era. And there's going to be some changes, dang nabbit. And it just from an impartial observer, I am not a member of the Catholic religion, nor am I a member of any, quote, competing religion. I'm impartial. Okay, go at it. He's done nothing to deserve the S on his chest, the super pope. Listen, when you're making headlines because you're marrying couples that live in sin, supposedly, okay, what about the kid diddlers, Pope? Where's that at? Call me when you actually hand over evidence to authorities and get kid diddling priests and cardinals and other people. Call me when you actually hand over evidence and get those people arrested and charged with the crimes that they committed. Not say, well, we're going to come down hard on the pedophilia. Where have the arrests been? Where are the arrests? Not just the settlements. You're on the hook for the settlements too. I want to see some arrests, bringing people to justice, and saying that would say no more of this, because we are not going to harbor pedophiles. We're not going to harbor them at all. We will hand over your stuff to whatever governing body has jurisdiction, and we will hang your ass out to dry if you're diddling kids. That hasn't happened. Nothing for the Pope. Nothing. Oh, he gave homosexuals. Well, he said homosexuals should receive sacrament. Has a gay guy, an openly gay guy, has he walked into the Vatican in their big mass? Has he received the sacrament from the Holy Father, from the Pope? Scusi. Does he give it? No. Oh, so it's just all it's crap. It's all crap. The Pope has done nothing. He's done nothing but just kind of, he's walked the party line and said he's, that's kind of bad, but we're not going to do anything about it. Kid diddling is really bad. Oh, are you going to hand people over to authorities? Well, let's not go crazy here. What about the Vatican Bank laundering money for the Sicilian mafia? What about that? Are you still doing that? I'm going to come down on the pimp pope or whatever that guy was, driving a gold Mercedes and the whatnot. I'm going to come down hard on him. Oh, are they still they're still laundering money for the mafia, aren't they? Oh, okay. I got nothing for you, Pope. You're a paper tiger. You got nothing. In another impromptu sports corner, screw the Minnesota Vikings, man. I tell you what, Adrian Peterson has been reinstated and will play this Sunday for the Minnesota Vikings despite being indicted on felony child abuse charges, and it's surfacing recently that he was investigated in 2013 for another child abuse charge for a different 4-year-old son, in which he allegedly gave him a whooping inside the car, leaving the child with a scar. And this, after all that, what I'm about to play for you now, this is Vikings GM Rick Spielman. Okay, this is Vikings GM Rick Spielman talking about Adrian Peterson and why Adrian Peterson is going to play for the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday despite all of this. Remember, and keep in mind, this is all about a football game. A football game. This is Rick Spielman talking. And props to the Vikings press corps. Here we go.
So you you sending to abuse victims around the country by playing Adrian Peterson on Sunday as if it were just another game?
Yeah, I understand this is a very difficult thing to handle. But we feel strongly as an organization that this is disciplining in a child. And whether it's an abusive situation or not, or whether he went too far disciplining, we feel very strongly that that is the court's decision to make. But we also understand the seriousness of abusing children as well.
You reinstated Chris Cook a couple of years ago, but told him to stay away. What's the difference with Adrian?
Those are all different situations, and based on the facts that we're able to gather, we make those determinations as an organization based on individual situations that have arose. So I cannot go into detail on the facts and all the information that we gather, but once we gather all the information we can, that's when we make our determination and base our decision.
Keep in mind now, I'm going to interject here really quick. Keep in mind, none of the facts about this Adrian Peterson thing are in dispute. Adrian Peterson testified before the grand jury and said, yes, I did this. Yes. He didn't deny it, didn't say that wasn't me, didn't say that's not my child. Adrian Peterson does not dispute the pictures of the wounds of his 4-year-old child. A 4-year-old. He does not dispute that. He does not dispute that he was texting the mother of the child saying, you're going to be mad at me because I was beating him in the balls. He hit his balls with a stick. A 4-year-old's balls with a stick. And I'm getting really good with it. And I'm breaking the skin and bleeding and I'm making him bruise. And you're going to be mad at me because I broke the skin and I was hitting his balls. None of that is in dispute. None of it. All right, let's get back to bastard, bitch, asswipe Rick Spielman.
Abuse is different from child abuse.
Adrian and his attorneys, have you talked to the police or prosecutors or seen any of the evidence that they used to indict him or the child's mother, or are you just sticking with Adrian and the attorney for it?
Again, you have to respect that there's a legal process in place. And, we have seen everything that's in the file. I will not get into any detail just because I hope that you can respect that the legal process is going to take its course, and everything and all the information that we've been able to gather as of today, this is the decision we felt was best.
Rick, have you had discussions with the league?
Rick, have you
talked to the National Football League? Have you talked to them?
We've been in communication. There's a protocol that every team follows when there's an incident with a player. So yes, we've been in communication with the NFL. But the decision to play Adrian is not a decision made by the NFL. The decision to play Adrian again is made by this organization.
What guidance did the NFL, though, tell you regarding this thing?
All right, I've heard enough from this bitch. The highlights courtesy of the NFL. Not courtesy of them, I just played them. But the NFL Network is where you could go if you want to see that in its entirety. That's Rick Spielman, Vikings GM Rick Spielman, all over a football game, saying, yeah, we saw the pictures. Yeah, we've seen everything. We really suck at football, though. Oh, God, do we suck at football. That's what he's saying. Adrian Peterson has been reinstated to play despite being indicted on felony child abuse charges and not disputing any of the facts that brought his indictment, and just saying, oh, yeah, well, he's playing. Due process. Now, I like I said the other day, like I've said on this show, I can understand coaches or teams, organizations, employers. Screw it. Not even sports. Let's remove it from the sports realm. I can respect employers saying, well, let's just wait to see what defense, if any, this guy, our employee, can mount. Let's just wait and see. Because at the end of the day, we can fire him anyway. But let's see if there is any exculpatory evidence that the defense may be sitting on, just so this guy doesn't go to jail for a long time. Let's just see. Let's wait, okay? But the facts are not in dispute in this case. In that sense, the guy would plead not guilty. and say, no, I didn't. No, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna dispute these facts. No, that's not true. That's not true. This is not true. Adrian Peterson, on the other hand, hasn't disputed anything. Yeah, I beat him. Yeah, I hit him with a stick. Yeah, I broke the skin, and that's blood and bruising, and that's him. Yep. I did it. And here's this just cowardly man standing in front of reporters. And again, props to the Vikings press corps for having some backbone to them. And the disgust in the voices of those reporters is palpable. You can feel it. The disgust they have for Rick Spielman and the Vikings for making this decision. And speaking of disgust, the Radisson Hotels were a limited sponsor of the Minnesota Vikings, and they have pulled their sponsorship. They have suspended it indefinitely. Suspended their sponsorship relationship with the Minnesota Vikings. And hopefully there's more. Hopefully there's more to come, especially after this. Especially after excusing and just say, oh, yeah, well, yep, he beat him. He beat him real good. He abused him, physically abused him real good. He's playing on Sunday. Due process, fingers in ears, la, 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 la. I can't hear you, so you can't criticize me. That's Vikings GM Rick Spielman. Bastard. Asswipe. Hope you get hit by a bus, bitch. In other news, in Vermont City, 100% of energy comes from renewable sources. This is your green portion of the show. The green portion. This is Burlington, Vermont, from the Associated Press. Vermont's largest city has a new success to add to its list of socially conscious achievements. 100% of its electricity now comes from renewable sources such as wind, water, and biomass. Okay, first of all, when your city's claim to fame is we have socially conscious decisions, I don't want to live where you are. I don't know what's going on in Burlington, Vermont, but when your tagline is Vermont's largest city has a new success to add to its list of socially conscious achievements, that's a bad town. I don't want to live in you town. Because you know what? I bet you it's really hard to find a beer. I bet you it's really hard to go out and just get rip-roaring drunk if you want to. It's probably really, really, really hard in that town to have a good time. Because, we are Vermont's most socially conscious town. Well, screw you, Puritan bitches. Anyway, with little fanfare, the Burlington Electric Department crossed the threshold this month with the purchase of the 7.4 megawatt Winooski 1 hydroelectric project on the Winooski River at the city's edge. When it did, Burlington joined the Washington Electric Cooperative, which has about 11,000 customers across central and northern Vermont, which reached 100% earlier this year. It shows that we're able to do it, and we're able to do it cost effectively in a way that makes Vermonters really positioned well for the future, said Christopher Recchia, the commissioner of the Vermont Department of Public Services. It's part of a broader movement that includes a statewide goal of getting 90% of Vermont's energy from renewable sources by 2050, including electricity, heating, and transportation. Across the state, Vermonters are urging their electric utilities to provide them with renewable sources of power, and the utilities are listening. There's something in there that I think a lot of people are missing. 11,000 customers. 11,000 customers. It's a big deal. 100% renewable energy for 11,000 people. That's not even a decent basketball stadium audience. That's not even a basketball stadium. That's not enough to fill the Madhouse on Madison here in Chicago. That's not enough to fill the United Center. 11,000 people. And their power needs, of course, and all their individual power needs. Yeah, it's great they come from renewable sources. Okay. And everybody's heralding this as, oh my God, look, it's the greatest thing, renewable energy. See, it's doable. See, it's doable. Clean, clean, clean. Is it scalable? Because last time I checked, there's not 11,000 people in the United States of America. The number of people doesn't start with 1,000. I think it's 100 million. There's a couple 100 million people in the United States of America. Probably 80+% of whom have electricity needs. What's 80% of 300 million? 240 million? 240 million people. 250 million people and their power needs. Can we do it all renewable? Like, come on. Yeah, it's great that this cutesy little town, this probably very close-knit town, was able to get their reasonable power needs, their comparatively minuscule power needs, into all renewable. Okay, good. Good for them. I like it. Would that work for New York City? How much renewable energy would we need? How many rivers would we need to dam? How many piles of garbage and waste would we need to turn into biomass methane producers? How many to power to power New York City? Screw it, just to power Times Square. How much renewable energy would we need? And then do that for New York, Chicago, LA, Oklahoma, Miami, Orlando, Raleigh, Dallas, Austin, it's not feasible. I'm sorry. Coal is everywhere. Radioactive material lasts for a long time, and we can boil water with it, pressurize it, put it through a heat exchanger to heat up other clean water, run a turbine, and use that to make power. That's what we can do. And it'll last for a long ass time. And it's comparatively pretty damn safe. Unless something really, 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 really bad happens. Which, all right, a couple hundred, maybe even a couple thousand people die. But we've got power for centuries. But renewable. Scale it up. Show me how it scales, please. It's great. It's cute. It's nice. I get it. Please show me how it scales. Just like everybody that's now Tesla making strides and selling direct to consumers. And again, I don't know how in any state in the United States of America, some other business can prevent me from selling my wares to customers. If I buy the land and they're my products and I get the proper licensing, I'm going to sell my cars to people. How the Ford dealership down the road, the Ford, Chevy, Jeep, Lincoln, Dodge, Mercury dealer down the road, how they can in any way affect my ability to sell my wares to people, I have no clue. I got nothing. But Elon Musk and Tesla making strides, getting their cars, opening dealerships across the country, all over the place. Okay, that's great. That's cute. That's nice. Nissan Leaf. Oh, great. All these nice and great cars. Okay. Here's a question that I don't see asked. Maybe other people are asking it, and I don't know. And I just don't see it. But if the goal is, well, everybody should have an electric car, right? What's the tagline? Is that Ford? The question is why. The question isn't why electric. It's why gas. Why use gas? Everybody should drive an electric car. It'll help great for the environment, great for the environment, great for the environment. Okay, let's say starting tomorrow, 50% of cars on the road are electric. That means in the morning, 50% of every car on the road in America needs to be plugged in and charging. What does that do to the power grid? What would that do? What's the capacity of the national power grid? We're already running it to the red, aren't we? We already have to shut down strategically, and we have, what is IBM doing? We've got the smart grid, and it's shutting things down, shutting this down because we're used so much electricity. Everything plugged it in, boom, boom, and we use it all. Now, on top of that, 50% of every car on the road with their inefficient batteries and electric motors Now, Elon Musk is apparently working on carbon nanotube batteries, which is amazing because they've got near infinite surface area for their size. It's an incredible surface area to, I believe, volume ratio. An incredible amount of surface area across which they can store power. So you'll get really small, efficient batteries that can hold a charge that you can't even understand. You're talking about actual 400, 500, 600 mile electric vehicles on one charge, or double, triple, whatever people can do now. And that's when you stack it full of batteries and it's brand new and they're all fully charged. What is that? What would everybody plugging in their clean electric car that's great for the environment? What would that do to the grid? Oh yeah. Yeah, you didn't think about that, did you? And not only does it cost power to get the power to your car, because there's inherent inefficiencies in the grid. In some instances, at the point of production of the power, it has to produce double what you're going to take out of the wall. Whatever you're going to take out of the wall. Whatever you take out, at the point of production, it has to put in double to that end to get whatever you are actually going to take. If you're going to take out X, it has to put 2X in, or 1.25 or 1.35, 1.45X into the tube to get you X. Not only that, but it can't really handle everybody doing it. Now, how much is it going to cost to completely revamp the national grid so that we can have an electrical grid that can sustain everybody plugging in their electric car? How much is that going to cost? And who's going to pay for it? That's right. Let's bring it home. Another great episode of The Lefty Show. I thank you all for joining. I had a great time putting on the show for you. I hope you had a great time listening. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, favoriting, subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can go to find the show in its YouTube formation, as well as gaming content and vlogs. All of it there, YouTube.com/LeftyOX. Thank you to everybody that's been following me on Twitter. @Lefty643 is where you can do that. Thank you to everybody that's been donating to the show. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions if you want to help out monetarily. And thank you to everybody that's been sharing the show, helping it grow. Try it out for yourself. It works. Trust me. Sharing the show with friends, family, and co-workers. It's easy to do now. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts for your PC and Android, iOS, tablet, or mobile device. Just wherever you go to get your podcast, search The Lefty Show. Be sure to find us there and subscribe and download all the episodes. Thank you guys for joining. Anyway, guys, that's my time. I got to get out of here. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next time. I'm out. Bye.
Welcome to Con Air.